There we go. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
That was loud. Okay, so I think we are all here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, except Paula, who just texted and says she's not coming. Sorry, what?
Paula not coming?
I think that's who just texted. I don't have her in my phone, but everyone else is here. So I think yes. All right, so let's go ahead and call to order at 6:01. And does anyone have anything they want to revise or prioritize on the agenda? All right. Seeing no revisions to the agenda is approved as written. And I tabled approving the minutes because I figured Jennifer wouldn't have time hunting to have gotten them done. And then public input. Did anyone have anyone contact them for public input? All right, me either. So no public input. PTO update. We are working on planning a meeting, and that's where that's sitting. Then on to principal report.
Yeah, sorry everyone that I didn't get a chance to send you a principal's report. There are things that I need to report on. I just didn't have anything in writing. Mindy reminded me during our Spalding class this morning that she thought our meeting was tonight, and I accidentally thought it was tomorrow because I didn't put it on my calendar. So I apologize for that. I do have some information to share with you on our enrollment. We have, I think for the first time in a long time, the possibility of having a full-time 6th grade class. We've run into a little bit of an issue with the online lottery process. So we do have 24 seats confirmed and 2 seats being offered at this point, and we're waiting to see which one of the 9 remaining kiddos, or which 2 of the 9 remaining kiddos are going to accept seats for 6th grade. But our other classes look like they're going to be totally full, and we're getting phone calls from families right now who are a little bit in a panic because they didn't apply for the lottery and they were hoping to get their kiddos enrolled in our program. So we're encouraging them to continue to apply for our school through the lottery, but we let them know that the window doesn't open now until January 1st for next March. So good news on that front. I did want to share with you information about our school schedules. As Dr. Bishop's letter indicated to families, that we are going back to a full day. So we don't have to do an adjusted schedule. So I have a newsletter ready to send out to parents this evening after we finish our meeting tonight. I wanted to just share with you that I'm going to be part of that communication is a schedule that looks just like our pre-COVID schedule, with our drop-off beginning at 8:10 a.m. and then school starting at 8:30 and pickup starting at 3:20 in the afternoon. I will be requesting this year that parents refrain from arriving too early in the afternoon so we don't have a backup in the parking lot of parents waiting for kids to be picked up and then blocking our driveway. I have requested the district's transportation department come and do a walkthrough with me and then take a look at our traffic flow patterns to see if they have any suggestions to help mitigate a lineup on the road in the back. And so I've sent them the diagrams that I used to send out to parents, and they're going to get me some feedback to see if we can help with, or if they can help us with our traffic flow. And then I would like to recommend to the board, I'm going to be pushing out in our newsletter that hopefully we'll be able to welcome families back into the building as far as volunteer school services. And that way we can start back our 16 hours of school service this year if everyone is okay with that. The district is just going to require that all adults in the building wear a mask, whether they are vaccinated or not. So I think that's really good news. Parents are really eager to help, and I think the teachers would really appreciate the support that they are used to getting from our parents. And then lastly, I did want to recommend that we do hold an open house. I think typically it was the day before school started or the evening before school started. This year that's Monday, August 16th. So that kiddos can drop off all of their supplies and things and get to meet their teacher and pick up their placards for their car windows so that they can be ready for pickup the next day. So if you have any thoughts on those, please let me know. And I'm sure you guys have lots of questions too.
Probably Mindy or Missy can correct me if I'm wrong, but is back to school night what we usually use is the phrase for that, and the open house is like a couple weeks into the school year where it's like the parent orientation in the classroom. I just don't want to mix up the phrases that people are used to seeing them as.
Yeah, that's correct.
Can I ask a question, Deanne, about the sixth grade numbers? You
Yes.
said you're waiting to find out which 2 of the 9 are going to accept seats. So does that mean you have 9 on the waiting list?
We started out with 11, and so we've kind of worked through. We've had a couple students decline seats, and so as they decline, then new students pop up on that list.
So it's 24 confirmed, but you're offering 2 to the 9 on the waiting list.
Yes, in order of their number on the wait list.
Okay. And then for parent volunteers to come into the building, are they still going to have to be doing the screening that they had to do last year and enter the stuff on the website? Is that still happening?
To my knowledge, no. We're just going to be asking them to sign in so that we know who's in the building, and then we're also going to continue to ask our families to do the health screening at home, just to make sure they're kind of aware of the fact that if they are showing symptoms, we'd like them to maybe choose to stay home until they're feeling better, or they have had a COVID test and are positive that any of their symptoms aren't related to COVID.
And with that, we are not doing any online virtual school this year, right?
At this moment, we are not going to be offering an online option. We're in-person attendance only.
Okay.
will there be any sort of like quarantine issue like there was last year if somebody does become positive, like when we had to have certain classes not come to school because of a positive case and whatnot? Will that be the same, or is it going to be more like so and so is sick and everybody else still goes to school?
I think that we're still going to be looking at anybody who's a close contact. And, the fact that we're not asking, there's a 3-foot recommendation of social distancing. It's not a hard and fast expectation. And so within our classrooms, we're not going to be, my recommendation will be, and I'm waiting to hear a little bit more from health services, but they're fully expecting our days to look like a typical pre-COVID school day. So we'll be having lunch in the lunchroom, recess schedule. I'm hoping to be able to go back to our regular recess schedule where we have, I believe it was the younger kiddos played out first, and the upper grades ate lunch first, and then they switched halfway through lunch. So, if we do have a kiddo in any of those cohorts show up positive, we're sort of running the risk of not knowing who's a close contact. Obviously, in classrooms, we'll know based on seating charts and things like that. We'll probably be recommending to families that certain kids stay home for a period of time. I'm not sure if that's going to be 10 days or 7 days just yet, but I think it may look like what the district did for the one instance where a student at Diamond High's summer school program tested positive and was symptomatic while they were in the building. And so they had identified close contacts, asked them to quarantine. And then everybody else, I think what they did was they shifted the entire school online for 10 days. So we're still sort of not out of the woods yet with the whole sort of protocol for when we identify someone who's been positive in the building.
Are you going to be minimizing students going back and forth between classes like last year, or are you resuming that normally as well?
We're planning on doing our specials rotation as previously planned until the district gives us direction otherwise. So our school day will look pretty typical. What we're really going to be hoping for is parents really being diligent as they were last year. Our parents were really great about calling in and saying, "Hey, my student is showing some symptoms or saying they're not feeling well. We're going to keep them home and get them tested. And as soon as we get the results, they'll either be back in school or they'll quarantine." So there is no guarantee that we won't have a class or keep our fingers crossed that the whole building doesn't have to go online. But it always is sort of a possibility.
Are we going to be resuming the hot water and microwave use in the lunchroom?
I think for now we're probably not going to do that. I haven't gotten any guidance about food and sharing yet.
I would specifically mention that in the newsletter then, so parents know that we're resuming, but there are still these few things, and that would be one of them that would not be a normal thing.
Okay. That's a good idea.
Are you still going to be doing a lot of sanitizing?
Yes.
Is that something that parent volunteers would be able to help with to minimize workload of staff?
I think that we could probably take a look at that if we had some parents that wanted to do that. We'd probably have to get them some specific training through Nurse Jan. but we can look into that.
It might be nice, like how we used to do the milk program, that, you know, you have one parent come in on Mondays and they do the classroom wipe down or whatever, so that they know that they're there. You have that routine, and then hopefully that lessens the staff workload for that or something like that.
Okay, yeah. And for the back to school night, I looked back and historically it was from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Is that time still a good time?
Well, I don't want to answer for a teacher, but
Um,
I mean, it was so that parents who are working can get there and get their kids there after work.
Deanne, did we always do it right the night before school started?
I only had a year or two before I got here. We didn't have one last year, and then the year that my first year here, it was 5:30 to 7.
But it was
So,
it the day before school started?
yes.
I don't think they always have been, because
Yeah, I think it depends on the
Monday
school's
to
start day.
Yeah, because like if school started
Okay.
on Thursday, we may have done it on Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah.
And so the
Yeah.
kids weren't out the night before school started. But since school
Okay.
on Tuesday this year, that's a little awkward.
But that's fine.
Well, will teachers have their room set up by Friday? I mean, I hate to even do a Friday night because that's people starting off their weekend.
Mhm.
And their teacher's first day back in their classroom is actually the Thursday before. So I know their rooms won't be ready.
Yeah, I can't guarantee I'll be completely ready to have stuff, so I would prefer the Monday.
And I could do either. It doesn't matter to me.
Anyone want to do Friday?
I think people are going to be wanting that last weekend.
That's why I figured Monday would be a good day. And we can encourage parents of the littles to come maybe toward the beginning so that they have some time to go home and get their kids settled down for the night.
I think traditionally most people come within that first half hour to an hour, and the last half hour is a lot deader. We've done it for 2 hours before, and then we always think, why are we doing this for 2 hours? Because there's not hardly anyone that comes that last hour.
Do you want to do it for just 1 hour?
Well, I think, like Vanessa said, for people that are getting off work in Anchorage at 5:30, for them to be able to get home, get their kids, and bring them, that might be a challenge. So I think an hour and a half is probably good, but 2 hours in the past traditionally has been too long.
Okay. Okie doke. What other questions do you have for me?
I got a couple of emails that my ASD email is back in service now, by the way, so you can send my emails to that. It just happened like 2 or 3 days ago that I noticed that. But I got some from you with, I don't know if they were screenshots or something from a rocket book from a leadership summit. Was that something that I needed? Because I couldn't read everything on it because it's cut part of it off. So I didn't really know what that was.
That's a technical glitch. I got a new notebook that is kind of a tech thing where if I'm taking notes, I can, or I have information to send, I can set up groups that it sends it directly to. And apparently I pressed some weird button and everybody got that information. So you can, I'm sorry, you can disregard that.
Okay, I
I
wasn't
haven't used it since
we're
then.
supposed to be at, and I didn't know or what.
Well, hopefully it wasn't anything too controversial. It was just my notes from our 2 days, principals 2 days of training last week at Bartlett High School.
No,
Thought
I
you were
did.
just enlightening us on the training.
Well, that one I could only see my name, so that's why I wasn't sure if anyone else got it, because then I did get an email that had everybody's name on it, but that one was a specific email. Although I did get somebody's resume, not in any way, shape, or form related to our school. So I think how the ASD email fills things in, they started to type somebody's name and it just selected my name.
Oh.
So they said, please print one more copy of this off to me. And anyway, it was just weird. I just deleted it.
You must have a name that's pretty close to someone else, an employee in the district.
Yeah.
Well, did you totally delete it?
I don't know.
Okay.
I can go back and look and just say, make sure you send it to the right person.
Yeah.
In the future.
Yeah, because they have, our staff's supposed to follow FERPA confidentiality requirements, and that probably would violate something if they sent you some, confidential document.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions for Deanne? Do you know, is the superintendent sending out whatever her like operational plan is that was gone over at the school board meeting last night?
To families?
Yeah. Or do
As
you,
far as,
well, I was just wondering if people start asking that, because she said there's like a list of things that are can be mask exemptions. I was just wondering if we want to have the answers for that, if people start asking questions like that, or if parents are just going to be totally in the dark on that.
I haven't gotten any information on what those exemptions are going to be just yet, but I am hoping that they send out some guidance on that, because that would be really helpful for me, because I know that we do have maybe some parents that are going to be making that request.
And then are masks required outside, like at recess, or just inside?
Just inside the buildings at this
Okay.
point.
Are we planning on doing lanyards again? And if so, and then masks for kindies that'll be new, or just telling them they need to provide their own in the colors that we have?
We have not purchased any new ones. We do have lots of extra lanyards that we can do for kindies, and also any of our students who might have lost them or purposely thrown them away, thinking, "Yay, we're done with masks." Well, we can certainly provide them for all of our students. We do have quite a bit of masks left over from last year that the district purchased. They're the ones that look like unfortunately, the tidy whities that we can give to our kindies. And also we're purchasing a healthy supply of the disposable ones, just in case kids forget theirs when they get out of their vehicles, we'll have disposable ones available throughout the day.
Are there going to be any travel guidelines that families are supposed to follow? Like, are we going to be watching that at all? Because I know that kind of changed, that it's not a mandatory test after coming back. Do you know what the school district says on that?
Not yet. I haven't received any guidance on that one just yet. We'll probably be following whatever the state is doing for travel.
Any other questions for her? Any other topics for us, Deanne?
No, I do have updates for the rest of our agenda, though, as far
Okay.
as the COVID, not the COVID, but the ESSER grants and things like that.
Okay. Are we good to move on from principal's report?
Yes.
Special standards committee is tabled. Hiring committee update.
We're still looking for a technology teacher. We did have a candidate that we were going to be interviewing in May. She requested that we wait till July to interview. And when we scheduled an interview in July, on the day of the interview, she emailed me to let me know that she had accepted a position somewhere else. So we do have a bunch of applicants that are still in the pool, but they are international. And there are applicants who don't have the right certifications. So they have just maybe like a K3 endorsement that doesn't allow them to be in the upper grades. So I'm getting ready to talk with HR about looking for a long-term sub for that position. So if anyone knows a parent or someone in our community who has some technology skills that would like to become a sub, that would be awesome. And we had our fourth grade TA resign. And so I'm working through HR to get that job posted so that we can also interview for our fourth grade TA position. So again, if you know a parent who finds themselves with some free time now that their children are going back to school and would like to help out, that would be great if you can put your feelers out there and send them our way.
And fourth grade TA is not a full school day, right?
It is a 5.5 hour day. So I think it's 0.675 of an FTE.
And I think this is our first official meeting that we've had for everyone to know if any slots have been filled. We were looking for our kindergarten, second grade TA, and third grade TA, correct?
We were looking for an art teacher, a special ed teacher, a kindergarten
Oh, right.
teacher, first grade TA, no, second grade TA, and a third grade TA.
And do you have names for us if they were filled?
Yes. So our art teacher Her name is Sarah Duffy. She's a previous ASD teacher who moved with her family out of state for a few years down in Texas, and now she's returning. I believe that she is living in the Eagle River area. Our special ed teacher, her name is Emily D. Amico. So it's capital D. What's that?
Apostrophe.
Apostrophe AMICO. And she's coming to us from an elementary school in South Anchorage. She lives in the Eagle River area, and her 3 daughters are in second, fourth, and sixth grade?
I thought one of them was a son. Am I wrong?
Oh, no, 3 girls.
3 girls.
Yep. You know that Heather Caldwell is our new kindergarten teacher. She's been with Eagle Academy in various positions over the last several years. Our second grade TA is Marnie Ullman. She's transitioning from being our interventionist TA to Missy's TA. She's also a parent of 2 students in our building. And then we have our third grade TA is Virginia Fairclaw. She has 2 sons in our school. Mason is a second grader, and Bo will be in kindergarten. And Emily, Virginia, and Marnie are also taking the Spalding class with Missy. So
Is it
they're
Marnie?
pretty sharp.
N. M-A-R-N-I.
N-I-E. And Ullman has 2 L's and 2 N's. So I think we have the candidates that we picked up are really strong. They'll be great additions to our program. They're certainly getting up to speed. I think maybe Missy can share with you more of her impressions of the work that they're doing right now.
I was going to say they are all rocking it. I'm so impressed. So it's very refreshing, and our principal is rocking it too. So
All right. Is that good for hiring committee update? Yes.
Are we going to be filling the whatever the
Interventionist.
alternate TA position also?
So yeah, that's the goal. We haven't typically hired those positions until a week or 2 into school. We do have funds. You know, my goal was to hire at least 2. If we can get another one, that would be great to help kind of address some of the holes that teachers were seeing in some of our students last year. But I think what we're going to do is we'll wait to see after teachers do their first round of assessments, get all of our kiddos leveled, and then see what our needs are. But we do have quite a bit of funds to be able to afford as many of our interventionist TAs as we think we can find.
Is that with the ESSER grant?
Yes.
and we may have parents interested now, that the kiddos are going to be back in school. That's kind of our hopes. We'll have a lot of interest there. Jennifer, just so that, I've got in my Spalding information, I've got Emily's last name as a capital D apostrophe capital A.
Mhm.
Do you have that? Okay.
Not because I necessarily heard that, but that's just how I would have written it. So that's how I wrote it.
Sorry, my child's throwing a fit about where are his plain bagels in the cupboard. um, 7th and 8th grade expansion committee. Let's see. So the State Board of Education is meeting the 23rd through the 25th of this month. So we are on the agenda for that. They want, unless Deanne has updated information, they want us to have like revised the charter, but the district didn't require us to. They just amended or made an amendment to our contract with the district. So we're kind of waiting for them to figure out what exactly they want updated. And have you heard any more on that, or is that still sitting, waiting?
That's still sitting. Yep.
Okay. And then we have been working on lining out all of the academic plans, including the electives. We've put together the electives that we would like to offer and putting together the report card standards. Obviously, all of this will all come to the APB, but we're trying to put it all together like a nice package that's ready so there's not a million questions and half of it not done. So any specific questions on that?
I did wonder about the language with foreign language. If you guys narrowed that down, because I do know at Chugiak they have eliminated the French program.
So that's what we just found out from Deanne. So we hadn't picked one. We had narrowed it down to either German, Spanish, or French. But the director of like the language program head at the district recommended to Deanne that we just do Spanish because the French and German teachers, as they retire, are going to be really hard to fill. So we haven't decided yet, but that was the recommendation that we just got last week, was to just go with Spanish. Any other questions? No?
So I guess I do have one. So if they do want us to revise the charter, does that mean that we have to go in and make all sorts of changes to it? Because that's by the 25th. So we'll have to have like public, that would be we have to have.
Well, I think what they said before, correct me if I'm wrong again, Deanne, I think what they said was that they would still review what we have at this meeting and everything that we have ready for the program. And I think say yes or no, but then they would give us another like however many months and maybe until their next meeting or their next meeting for us, if we have to revise that, to have that done. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
That is my impression right now.
Because if we revise the charter, do we have to take that back to the Anchorage School District and have them approve it as well before you could take it to the state?
I think at this point it's I think it's at this point it's safe to assume that if all we're doing is adding the specific language related to the 7th, 8th expansion, that that the board would just sort of rubber stamp that because they've already approved the concept itself.
Okay. I just wasn't sure if they wanted it by that 25th, like we would have to theoretically have it put out for so many weeks to our families and then have 2 readings to adopt the changes and then take it to the school board theoretically, right? If we were doing those kind of things to the charter. So I don't know that there would be any way possible to have it done by the 25th. So hopefully they don't say, yes, we want that.
No, I think they already said that we don't have to have it done by then. But if they decide that they want us to have it done,
It's
we'll
more
have to
later
do
on.
it at some point.
Okay, got it.
Any other questions? Okay, moving on to the election committee update. So the election was end of May and we just had a special meeting after that. So the official results are Jennifer Bundy is voted in for seat D, Paige Saylor is voted in for seat E, and Paula Iojak is voted in for seat G. And then I have the Simply Voting official certified results that I'll send to you, Jennifer, to go with the minutes.
Yay. I'd love to get updated photos for everybody so that I can introduce you in one of our newsletters. So do you feel comfortable at some point between sometime next week, maybe coming in and getting an updated photo?
Wear the blue ribbon shirt.
Oh,
That's a good idea.
Are there going to be any days or times that you're not planning to be in the office so we don't show up during that time frame?
I do have an SR3 meeting next week, Monday morning, I think from 8:30 to 10. But I think other than that, I'm going to be in the building every day from 7:30 to 4 o'clock, 4:30. Oh, and I do want to share with the board, I forgot to send, share with you, but I did get an email. So those of you who are in the PTO, this is probably going to be good for you to know also. I got an email from, what is it? Oh my goodness. There it is. From ACF Church in Eagle River. And they are going to be between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. on the 12th, buying lunch for teachers at Lexi's Cafe. They just need to show their school ID. So that's a really nice gesture by a church in our community. So if Mindy and Missy, tomorrow I'll share with you the email. That way you can get that out to the staff to let them know that at least next week, Thursday, their first day back, they'll have lunch provided for them. Or at least somebody will pick up the tab for their lunch.
So do we have to go and get it ourselves? Is that if we
Yeah,
gotta
I
show
think,
our ID?
yep. Hmm.
But good to know. So the PTO doesn't plan any lunch that day.
Yes, yep.
Okay, so you want everyone to come in and get an updated photo done by next week or by
Yeah.
next week?
But by next week, Friday morning, that way when I send out the newsletter, parents, and then if we're back to school night, parents will kind of recognize you and know who you are. Or at least our new ones will. Our old ones probably recognize everyone already.
Okay.
But
And then old business, just an update on the lease renewal. Sean and I both signed the 1-year extension and it has been forwarded to the district. So we're good there.
Yeah.
And then Deanne, you have an update on the ESSER 2 grant for us?
Yes, so we finally got our account key on our ESSER 2 grant, which allows us to, we received $191,036 based on our average daily membership through the district. So the district got a whole bunch of funds and then they just figured out per student how much that equaled, and then they gave Eagle Academy and all the other charters, except all the other brick and mortar building charters, a share of those funds. So the homeschool correspondence programs didn't get any ESSER funds. And we were able to purchase the teacher or the TA and substitute MacBook Airs to replace the aging and dying MacBook Pros that were repurposed from teachers a long time ago. Those were purchased through our CARES Act grant funds, which we are done using. And so the only thing left now is we're going to put that Chromebook cart that you had approved in the spring on the ESSER 2 funds.
So you said the MacBook Airs were purchased using the CARES funds,
Yes,
and the Chromebook cart is going to be using the ESSER funds.
yes, correct. And the district just sent principals an update on the ESSER 3. So Jennifer, for the purposes of, I guess just kind of keeping it straight, the ESSER 1 funds were the CARES Act grant. The ESSER 2 funds are called the CRRSA Act,
How do you,
or CRRSA.
okay,
And then the ESSER 3 grant is being called the ARP Act.
ARP?
ARP. And our portion of that, and good, everybody sitting down, it's $428,117.
Is that a use or lose?
Yes, it is.
And by what date?
I believe we have till the end of the school year 2023, but that's where I'm going to go to a meeting next Monday on that with ONB to get more specific details. And of that grant, we have to spend at least 20% of it to address learning loss. And I believe 20% of that ends up being $85,623.
Can you
We'll
find
have
out
no,
if the other 80% could go to a purchase of a building?
no. We
Updating
already,
the building?
but what we can do is we can use that for personnel. So
New position personnel or existing personnel?
they could be new position personnel or existing personnel.
So like new 7th and 8th grade teachers? Or no, because they were just K-6 when this all happened.
Well, what it could do is if we had a hard time finding our interventionist TAs, because those are temporary positions that pay minimum wage, you could turn it into a position like our regular TAs that are on the totem scale and also provide, Medicare and PERS retirement type things. So if that would help attract and retain, we could do that. And a lot of the other charter schools are actually using it to pay for their current certificated teachers.
And then going back a little for the ESSER 2 grant, do we know when that one has to be spent by?
Funds are available through September 2023.
What was the amount of the ESSER 3 again?
ESSER 3 was 428,117. ESSER 2, did I say 191,036? And then for the ESSER 1, the CARES Act, we got 44,801. So that's really nothing to sneeze at. I'm hoping to use this to create a healthy after-school program. So I have some ideas. I'm going to see if I can get that approved from OMB and if that qualifies. So it'll be some enrichment and some specific activities that are going to address skills that some of our students may need some support in. Among other things. So I think that's really good news.
Yeah.
Any other questions on the ESSER grants? Good to move on? All right. Insurance, I think that's an update only. I just wanted to confirm we went with the original vote from the June meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
So APEI is still our carrier.
Okay. And then the next item is French toast uniform options. Those are for our styles being retired by French Toast that we need to pick replacements for. I am still waiting for the size 16 samples to come in. Our rep told me on July 22nd that she was requesting they be sent, but I think they have not come in yet. So I emailed today for an update from her to make sure that they did get sent. Unless you've seen anything come in at the school?
Nope, not yet.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay, on to new business, confirming the APB seats for the 2021-2022 school year. Okay, so we have Missy Timberlake, who is seat A, which is the primary teacher seat. Mindy Edison, who is seat B, the intermediate teacher seat. I am seat C, which is a parent rep seat. And let's see, ABC, and then Jennifer Bundy was voted back in for seat D, another parent rep seat, and Paige was voted in for seat E as a parent rep seat. Cheryl Rail is seat F, which is a parent rep seat. And then Paula Iojak was voted in for seat G, which is the community member seat. So those are our people this year. Yeah.
Yay.
And then we have, like in the front of our binders, a list that probably needs updated. So we might need, I guess, just from Paula and Cheryl, your contact information. Do you have that, Jennifer?
I do.
Spreadsheet? Okay.
Yeah.
We should probably do an updated one of those.
Okay.
And then next new business item is voting on chair, vice chair, secretary positions. So usually we, as a group, well, not as a group, whoever wants to in the group will nominate someone for each position. If only one person is nominated, then we can vote on them all in one motion. But if multiple people are nominated for a position, then we should do them one at a time, if that makes sense. Okay,
I nominate that Vanessa stays president.
I second.
I third.
All right. I will accept.
So do I need to write down who nominated and first and second for this, or just the final?
No, you can just write, well, you can write if you want, like, so-and-so was nominated for this position, but you don't have to put like motioned and seconded.
Okay.
Any nominations for, well, any other nominations for chair? Any nominations for vice chair?
Well, I nominate Paige Saylor. She's done an outstanding job.
I'll second.
Thanks. I work hard.
Okay, you're good with that?
Yes.
Okay.
If anyone gets too antsy, I'm very willing to allow somebody else to be secretary. Not to nominate me.
I think we only got her back on the board by saying she didn't have to be secretary. Any nominations for secretary?
Is this for 1 year or 2 years?
It's just 1 year.
Because it gets revoted.
Yeah, we redo it every beginning of term year or every beginning of school year.
Cheryl, how do you feel about secretary?
Bad connection. I can't hear. What was that?
That means you want to be secretary, right?
What? What was that?
She's like,
What all
I can't
What
hear
all
you.
does the secretary have to do? Because maybe Cheryl and I can share the job.
You write up notes for the meeting, type them up. Ideally, you would get them out to everybody within a reasonable amount of time so that they can read over the notes and give you any changes that need to be done. And then after they are voted on at the next meeting, theoretically, again, then they would have the final draft typed up, and then the chair and the secretary sign them and then give them to Deanne so that she can put them on the website.
And that's it?
Um,
I mean, that's a lot. Don't get me wrong.
anything else that randomly came up, like putting together the contact info lists of all the APB members, putting together the agenda before every meeting, getting stuff from Vanessa and Deanne that need to go on there.
Plus our normal like calendar list. Yeah, so you do a draft agenda using like the calendar list, and if Deanne has requested any items or if anyone else has requested any items, and then you shoot the draft to Deanne and I to look over and see if anything should already be removed or if we need to wait or if we need anything added, and then send out the final to all the members.
Before the 7-day, before the regular meeting.
Yeah.
2 days before a special meeting. So it's really the agenda and the minutes, but it's the back and forth that sometimes have to happen. Paula's not here.
That doesn't bode well for a secretary.
Plus, you'd have to accept the nomination, so.
Oh, right, and that. As far as I know, there's never been 2 secretaries, but I guess you could, like, if someone wants to do minutes and someone wants to do agenda so that you only have to worry about one aspect of it, I suppose you could do that.
That's kind of what I was thinking, but I don't want the agenda. I don't want to have to try and shoot
Remember
this
dates?
here. Yes, I can type notes while we're doing the meeting. I just don't want to do the other stuff with everything else I have going on.
Okay, I would do the other stuff then. We do that.
Okay,
I nominate Mindy to be the meeting minute secretary, and I nominate Cheryl to be the agenda secretary.
No.
All right, so the nominations are Vanessa for chair, Paige for vice chair, Mindy for minute secretary, and Cheryl for agenda secretary. If anyone wants to make a motion for that.
I make a motion that we accept that nomination slate.
I do too. Just, yeah.
Do you want a second, Mindy? Is that what you mean? I do too.
All second, yes.
All right, roll call vote. So the motion on the table is to accept the nominations of Vanessa for chair, Paige for vice chair, Mindy for minutes secretary, and Cheryl for agenda secretary. Jennifer?
Yes.
And Mindy?
Yes.
Cheryl?
Yes.
Missy?
Yes.
And Paige?
Yes.
And I am also a yes. So the motion is approved unanimously.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Jennifer. Do the minutes have to look a certain way?
There are certain things that are supposed to be included on it, but we can go over that. We don't have to take up time during this meeting if you want.
Okay.
So I could show you some of those things.
So Cheryl and I can get a little bit of training from you, please?
Sure.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Next item is to appoint the APB designee for principal flex days. So this is for if Deanne wants to use her flex days, she doesn't have to worry about emailing all of us. She can just go to her appointed designee and they'll get any concerns or yeses back from us and then go back to her if anyone wants to volunteer for that or nominate someone to do that. I think it was Paige last year. Yes.
I don't mind doing it again if you want me to keep doing that.
I nominate Paige Saylor to be the designee for principal flex days.
All right. I don't think we need to vote on that. I think that's fine. And then I had on here review calendar and back to school activities. I don't know if there's anything to review yet besides the back to school night.
And is that what's being said as open house on the agenda?
No, the open house on the agenda is the other one, which we might not have anything for either if you guys haven't met as a staff yet.
The one in September?
Yeah.
Are we gonna try to ask the PTO to do some kind of treat at the back to school night? We've typically done that in the past, but I didn't know if you guys are still getting up and running or what.
We are still getting up and running. I know all the normal things that we do, but we need to have a meeting to figure out what we're doing.
Well, and Deanne said she wasn't sure about food yet.
Oh, if we can
She
do
hasn't, yeah, she hasn't heard anything from.
Well, I didn't know if it could be like just here's a bag.
Yeah, what we did the past few years or a couple of years was just like a baggie of chips, like not shared food, like grab your snack and take it with you.
Like no sundaes or ice cream sundaes or anything.
Correct.
Cake you have to cut.
Would you like me to find out if we could do something like that?
I mean, I always think it would be fun, but we've had a really hard time getting PTO members who want to sit there and dish out ice cream. So that's why we went the way of not Sundays. But I mean, if we could get people to do it, sure. Or the other thing we don't have is like a freezer, really. Like you could do the little Dixie cups of ice cream, but there's nowhere to store it, really, unless people come and grab them right away.
I'm all for an easy, hey, let's, pop into the school year or something and pop chips or something super easy, fast, and here you go. It gives the kids something more excitement to look for instead of just dropping their stuff off. That's usually excitement enough, but it gives them something to take home.
We could get Otter Pops.
I love me some Otter Pops.
We did think about that one year too. Or did we do that? I think we did that one year and it was a mess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was a mess.
No, that's not good.
That on the front porch and say, don't bring them in the school.
Oh, that's a good idea. Grab them literally as you leave out
Yep.
the front.
Grab them on your way out.
Yep. The gym floor was a disaster.
And that'll be a great way to kind of make sure that people actually do go home because their kids will be begging, hey, we need to leave so I can get my Otter Pops.
That's true. I will take that feedback back to PTO. Is there anything else we needed to review for that or no?
I had a question that I had forgotten earlier. You had said that all adults in the building are going to need to wear a mask, whether they're vaccinated or unvaccinated. Does that also go for staff? Will all staff adults be wearing masks in the building?
Yes, that's if we're going to ask the community to do that, that would be the expectation for staff. So, I don't know yet. Dr. Bishop's letter did leave a huge gaping opening for the possibility that some people may be exempt, but I don't know what criteria they're going to use to actually qualify people for that. So, the recommendation is also, if we're going to ask our students to do it, I think it's only fair that we, as staff and adults, be good role models.
The only reason I ask is just for teaching purposes, that it's, with the mask over the face, it's a lot more challenging for the students to, what did you say? Which I know we all know because we've already done that, but I didn't know if there would be some way to mitigate that for them.
I was assuming that we could wear shields like we were able to last year.
Yeah, when you're doing your phonogram and things, and your spelling dictation, I think that staff will be allowed to use their shields, because I think that's pretty critical for kids to be able to see teachers' faces while they're learning how to pronounce and sound words.
And then I'll probably leave the review calendar on our next one too, so we can go over more like to halfway through the school year, kind of like when is picture day, when's the open house going to be, all of that kind of stuff, so we can see what's going on.
Professional development days.
Yeah, those two.
I can tell you what our PD days are. So our 3 half-day PD release days are going to be September 3rd, which is a Friday. September 24th, it's a Friday. And then April 15th, which is a Friday. I think historically it was the 3rd, that was the Friday before Labor Day. And then the 15th, I think, is Good Friday. I don't know necessarily the rationale or the reason why the dates have always been around September 24th, but I try to follow historically what we've always done.
You said September 3rd and 24th, and then April
15th. And then we have October 20 and 21, which is a Wednesday and Thursday. Those are parent-teacher conferences. Students were released at noon. And then the spring parent-teacher conferences is February 16th and 17th, which is a Wednesday and Thursday. And those are always followed by no school day for professional development and grading.
On that note of like a calendar, we used to do like a handout that people grabbed at registration that would line out all of our extra, like our weird days or half days off. Are we going to do something like that? Not necessarily for registration, but when you're putting out your information?
Yeah, and so I'm going to see if Missy, can I drop something into the chat box, a document in there?
Can I drop a document in?
No,
to.
Okay, so I'm going to drop the document in there, and this is going to go out in the newsletter with the parents, so that way you can kind of see it. Hopefully, did that go?
I don't see a place where you can.
I think the chat is just text.
Yeah. Can you email it to us?
Yes, let me email it to everybody right now.
While we're waiting for that, is the open house planning, should we table that? I'm guessing the staff hasn't all met, right, to figure
Yeah,
out.
we haven't talked
Okay.
about that at all yet.
So I am going to reply to Vanessa's email from this evening about the agenda. So I'm going to send that to everybody in that email. Okay. So let me know if you received that.
I just got it.
Me too.
Deanne, were you going to send this out to parents like this
Yeah.
week?
It's, yeah. Mhm.
Okay,
So if you
because
see any,
we don't have our open houses on here, right?
no.
Okay, I really think we need to get those on there before we send them out to parents.
Are you gonna put your Spalding workshop for the parents on there as well? Do we usually have that on there?
No, because that's just for new families, and so I just send that out.
Okay. Well, I
Well,
looked
I
in
would
past
say-
ones and I didn't see any open
Yeah, I
house
don't
on
think
there.
we
It
usually
just
do either.
always had a back to school one, but it didn't have an open house.
I would say still send it, and if when we get those, if you want to resend it, then resend it. But I would say we've had people asking on the Facebook page, "Are your days normal? Are they different days?" So I think this would be good to get out for people to see.
We
Big
also don't
picture.
have picture day on there.
Do you want me to put the fall picture day on there?
Yeah, do you need me to tell you what day it is? Or do you have that?
Yes. If you could remind me what day that is.
I will have to look that up real quick.
And then Jennifer, can you email me your contact for Life Touch? We have so many new staff members and they won't have any ID badges. So I'm wondering if they'll allow those people to go to their storefront and get a photo taken, and then maybe we can get some IDs super soon so that they can be identifiable in the building.
Did we put the first, just put September to TBD, to be determined, and then open house nights? I just think that we need to let parents know we are going to do that again, and so they will be. We will be putting that out. At least it's on their radar, because we always have a lot of trouble getting a lot of our families there. So do what we can.
So picture day is September 29th and November 3rd for retakes. And then February 9th is when we have cap and gown and spring pictures.
Okay.
Just because I was looking at my text thread, are you still limited on the hand sanitizer that ASD is accepting?
Did we ask for hand sanitizers in the school supply list?
I haven't looked at them, but
Yeah.
traditionally in the past, they were on the list for classrooms. But I still have that box that I'd gotten. It was just the wrong kind of alcohol content. So I didn't know if we were
Yeah.
asking for parents to donate it if it mattered.
I don't think any teacher had hand sanitizer on their list. They did have add back the Clorox and Lysol wipes. But I think we still are not accepting the other type of hand sanitizer. So we have lots of supplies in our classroom to put in the refill ones, the touchless ones. And then the district sent us a whole bunch of the bottled ones that I can't imagine we'll even run out of that this year. We have a ton of those.
Okay.
Oh, while we're on calendar, are you, when you send out the parent info, are you also going to update the website, like under the families, where it has all the sections of like arrival and dismissal, and our school schedule is still set for last year with the truncated day?
Yep.
Okay. And then last item on here is setting our meetings for the year or half the year, however we want to do that. Usually we do the year, but does anyone have any preferences or days they absolutely cannot do?
I recommend we don't do Tuesday this year so that we are not conflicting with the school board meetings.
I recommend we don't do Fridays.
I concur.
I'm good with Tuesday or Thursday then. I don't like meetings on Mondays. It makes for a long week.
Anyone else have any opposition to Thursdays?
Thursdays would just run up against our every other week staff meetings at school. So it
Right.
will give just a little bit of time for Missy and Mindy to go between meetings and go home, get food or whatever else.
The alternate time, if they're every other, we could pick.
Well, we could do the same with Tuesdays. We could pick, if ASD does like first Tuesdays, we could do second, or if they do second, we could do first.
Tuesday is my kids' youth night, so it would be easier for me if it was Thursday, personally. I could make.
I'm fine with Thursdays.
What weeks do you have the staff meeting?
Right now they are scheduled for the 2nd and 4th, except for September. All the other ones are like the 2nd and September and December. So I can tell you September 9th is open. That would be the 2nd. In October, the 7th and the 21st
Are open.
are open.
So we could do first Thursdays, and that should, for the most part, not conflict.
Yeah, it will conflict in September and December.
And we'll just have to make it work.
So so you could do the first Thursdays, and then in December you would do December 9th, and then you could do September 9th.
And do any of those also conflict with any breaks? No, probably, maybe not. Okay.
Nope. In January it would be 6th, and we get back on the 3rd.
What about March?
And
Because spring break probably.
spring break, you had the first Thursday is the 3rd, and spring break is the 7th through the 11th. So it doesn't conflict with any holidays or
Don't we
days
usually have
off.
our meeting after spring break anyway?
I think
Do
only
we
if it.
normally do that?
I think only if it conflicts with it.
We're meeting the second week,
Yeah.
and that's when spring break was the second.
Yeah. So if you do the first
So
week,
the only conflict with March 3rd would be if anybody thinks they're going to leave, because isn't the 4th technically no school? There's no school,
yeah,
right?
it's a
Or
grading day.
it's an in-service day, yeah. So it doesn't bother me. I just was throwing that out there.
Well, we could schedule it for now, and then if 5 of us book vacations, we can reschedule it. Okay, so are we good with first Thursdays, except September and December will be second Thursdays? And does anyone have a time?
And it's Thirsty Thursdays.
Yay!
And in May, Thursday is May the 5th, which is Cinco de Mayo. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it out there that we should have
We're getting
tacos
to the
at our
5th.
meeting.
And it now.
Does anyone have a time preference?
What did we normally do? 6, 5:45?
5:45.
5:30?
I think that's what we did last year. We've done 5:30 before, and I think we had people who it was tight to get from Anchorage to the school by 5:30. So then we did 5:45.
Well,
I
you
prefer
would come
earlier the
from
better,
work, so
but
Yeah.
you know, I live very close to school, so
I like 5:45.
it's 5.
45. Okay.
Once I have to go back into the office full time, that would be hard to get here by. I'll be in Midtown. So
All right. So first Thursdays, except September and December, and 5:45. We're all good with that? Okay.
Do we need to just make sure that Paula doesn't have any specific conflicts before we set it all in stone? Like if she has something every Thursday, that may not work for her.
That is true.
Do you want me to text her really quick?
She
Sure.
said it's her daughter's birthday, I think. And so
I thought it said she was going out to dinner with her husband. It's their anniversary.
oh, some kind of celebration. I think it was on the 9th, September 9th is Joyce's birthday. So that's why I was thinking daughter's birthday.
Oh, so that's not a good day for you then.
It's okay.
Are you sure?
We will make her feel loved and special anyway, whether it's during this meeting that we all sing to her or we do something else.
I mean, we could move the day that week too.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
September is always hard because both my girls' birthdays are in September, and with back to school and resuming things, there's always stuff on their birthdays.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then do you have any financial review or no, not yet?
Nothing yet.
Okay.
So are we waiting to hear back from Paula before we adjourn? Or are we just gonna adjourn?
It just says delivered. It hasn't said read, and there's no dots that she's typing me back yet.
She may be
But I can.
in the moment and not worried
Yeah,
about her phone, which
exactly.
yes.
We can just adjourn and you can confirm with us what she says.
Got it. I can do
All right.
that.
Does anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Can I get a second?
Wow.
I second.
I'll second.
Wait, who seconded?
I did second, and then
You
Paige
did.
seconded.
It
my
doesn't matter.
Okay. All right. Adjourned at 7:31. And that's all.
Awesome.
Yay, thank you, everyone.
All right.
Bye.